If you are here at my YouTube channel, you may be wondering what time is it? There you go. It is Patches of Gray o'clock, which is a time that I just invented. Patches of Gray is my debut novel, and my wife kindly got me a watch for Father's Day this year with the book cover image on it. I love this thing. I'll be wearing it and carrying it with me wherever I go. I don't have it on my wrist because I can show it to you better when I'm not wearing it. And now I am going to get to the reason that you and I are actually here, and that is for me to discuss my thoughts on a novel that I have read, I reviewed, now sharing my thoughts about. Today I would like to discuss Motherless Brooklyn by Jonathan Lethem. This book was adapted into a movie that came out earlier this year, I believe it was. I have not seen the movie. I do not know if it was a great movie, if it was praised or if it was panned. I will eventually find out. But when I did learn that it was being made into a movie, I realized I had a copy of the book lying around. I said, okay, let me read it first, check it out. And then eventually I will get around to the screen version. First, I want to let you know what I thought about the on-page version. As it turns out, I really enjoyed it. I'm pretty sure that I qualify as a slow-paced reader. Speaking of pace, check out my awesome watch. Especially in comparison to someone like my wife, who will breeze through 5 books for every one that I finish. If you watch a lot of booktubers, a lot of their channels, you probably see plenty of people who read considerably faster than I do. I like to take my time with a novel and just really allow it to go into the marrow, into my bones. Maybe that's just a goofy way of saying that for whatever reason, I don't rush through books. And therefore I can't, pop out one of these videos every couple of days because I can't fly through novels every few hours. I take my time. But this one, Motherless Brooklyn, I would have to say it was an exception to my rule. There are certain books that I feel compelled to power through, and Motherless Brooklyn makes it to that list. In part because it is a mystery, and I tend to put the pedal to the metal when it comes to whodunits. My absolute favorite mystery novels are those that make me insanely curious to learn the solution to the riddle. Yet at the same time, the who, what, where, when, why, and how barely matter. Because the very best reading experiences are about the journey, not the destination. And my favorite mysteries are almost a disappointment when the criminal matter is resolved, because that means the book is over and I no longer get to accompany the protagonist sleuth. Not until or unless they show up in another book to solve their next crime, for those who are put into series. My all-time favorite mysteries are those where the detective is as interesting, or perhaps even more so, than the crimes being investigated and the criminals who they are trying to stop and bring to justice. Some examples would be Sherlock Holmes, Hercule Poirot, Jane Marple, Philip Marlowe, E.Z. Rawlins, Coffin Ed Johnson and Gravedigger Jones. To that stellar list, I will add Lionel Esrog, who is from Motherless, Brooklyn. And while I suspect that Jonathan Lethem may only feature this character in a single novel, rather than giving us multiple appearances in a series, Lionel certainly makes his one book count. Motherless Brooklyn is a wonderful blend of masterful literary fiction and the mystery genre. And as with Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's Sherlock Holmes, Motherless Brooklyn features a main character who is more adept at tracking down clues and getting to the bottom of puzzling events than he is at relating to other people in possession of more ordinary, modest minds. Whereas characters such as Sherlock Holmes and Hercule Poirot make ideal detectives because they are blessed with the remarkable gifts of observation and deduction, Lionel Esrog must overcome great obstacles presented by his Tourette syndrome. He is a prisoner within his own mind, constantly battling and mostly failing to keep his compulsions under control. Whether it's needing to keep a particular count, or his inability to resist touching something or someone, or most of all, being unable to rein in his insatiable appetite for exploring language and speaking words, both real and or hybrid words created on the spot in rapid succession. Getting from one end of a sentence or a conversation to the other with someone can prove to be a real challenge for Lionel. So solving a murder is presented as a Herculean mission in this book. Something fell, but I'm just going to keep going. When the man who showed the most compassion for Lionel is murdered, he is determined to track down the killer of his friend Frank Minna. Not that Frank was in any way a saint. He commands a small troop of orphans to do his bidding. $20 bills and bottles of beer and the chance to be somewhere other than an orphanage or a school is their main reward. So Frank is a far cry from Father Flanagan. The Minutemen, as they're called, are tasked with various legal and illegal enterprises in service of their leader. Frank considers Lionel to be a freak, the same as everyone else does. But that doesn't prevent him from having a soft spot in a hard world for Lionel. And this sentiment is repaid with undying loyalty for Frank on Lionel's part. Lethem does an admirable job at putting us in the head of Lionel, a place unlike any we've been to before. We readers want Lionel to crack the codes put before him, and eventually the perplexing case, because, like Frank, we have grown fond of him. We know nothing comes easy for Lionel, and that makes us root for him all the harder. Along the way, Lionel meets a girl that just may be the one meant for someone like him. Not that the Brooklyn orphan with the Tourettic burdens is all innocence and virtue. His friend has been killed, and he will follow the trail wherever it takes him, regardless of the perils it leads him to. But this doesn't only mean that he wants answers. It also means that Lionel wants payback. So even though we grow rather fond of him because we empathize with his struggles, dealing with Tourette's, dealing with being an orphan, dealing with being largely friendless, especially after his mentor passes away, it doesn't mean that Lionel is all sweetness and light and huggability. He is a man on a mission, and we are along for the ride and for the struggles that he must fight through to accomplish his goal. I enjoyed every page of this unique, topsy-turvy novel, and I recommend it to all readers, regardless of what types of books you tend to read, regardless of whatever pace you tend to read them at. Definitely make space on your shelves for this splendidly written novel, Motherless Brooklyn by Jonathan Lethem. I highly recommend it. I highly recommend strongly adhering any backdrop that you have for booktube videos that you do, so that they don't fall down in the middle of the video. And I strongly recommend that you check out the time and to make time for those whom you love and for books that you will grow to love. So that's about all I have to say. Until next time, this is Roy of Roy's Book Reviews, signing out.